I'd like to call to order this Thursday, January 21st, 2021 meeting of the Springfield Historic Commission. Commissioners Walsh, Belton, McFarland, Finn, and Kroll are present. I just want to go over the some of the, the COVID changes. Of course, obviously, we're meeting virtually in order to enable municipal government to continue its important work during the COVID-19 pandemic, while assuring both city employees and citizens can satisfy CDC social distancing guidelines. The city of Springfield is providing public notice that it will conduct a public hearing using remote technology. To view the public hearing, channel 17, oh, that's not happening though. Focus Springfield Community TV website at http://focusspringfield.com/watch/government. Public comment will also be taken in two segments. First public comment period will take place prior to the meeting discussion. The second public comment period will take place after the meeting, remain open for 24 hours. To provide for public comment in writing, mail Springfield Historic Commission, 70 Tapley Street in Springfield, Mass. 01104, or email Allen, AALLEN, at springfieldcityhall.com. And to provide for public comment by voicemail, 413-750-3223. Messages received will be played at the Historic Commission hearing or at the continued hearing date. All commentators should state their name, address, and company or organizational affiliation in addition to the items their comments pertain to. Just to reiterate that, anybody, when you speak for the first time, please give us your name and address. Okay, we have no tabled items, only continued hearings. So we'll go right to 50 Marengo Park. Is the petitioner on for Marengo?
I am here representing Nescor, the contractor for the home.
Okay, April. It's an application for appropriateness for the 25 existing windows, replacing Wood Majesty Harvey replacement windows and existing openings. Exterior capping will not be touched. Windows to have white interior and black exterior cladding to match the home's original windows. Is there anything else you'd like to add to that, April? Anything you think we might want to know?
I think we've gone over everything pretty thoroughly. I mean, if you guys have any questions, I'm more than happy to answer them, but everything remains the same from the last meeting.
Okay, any commissioners have questions?
I was not here at the last meeting, but I did a little research on these windows earlier today, so I think I'm good.
You're okay?
Yep.
If there's no other questions for the petitioner, I would entertain a motion to accept the application of certificate of appropriateness for 50 Marengo Park for the 25 existing windows, replacing with Wood Majesty Harvey replacement windows in existing openings.
I also want to add that we have no public comments for this particular matter.
Thank you. Okay. Could I get that motion?
So moved, Mr. Chair.
Thank you.
Second.
Okay, we have a text. Is there any discussion on that motion? Hearing none, call for the vote. Commissioner Kroll?
Yes.
Commissioner Finn?
Yes.
Commissioner Belton?
Yes.
Commissioner McFarland?
Yes.
I almost passed you up, and Commissioner Walsh is yes. Okay, that passes.
Thank you very, very much.
Be able to contact Alvin, and he'll be able to take care of it.
Thank you.
Thanks. Okay. 91 Piney Woods.
Yes, this is Jonathan Schultz from Pella Windows at Ashley Avenue in West Springfield on behalf of Jennifer and David Vos, the homeowners.
Okay. Well, this is an application for appropriateness, replace the front porch windows of Pella Architects Series traditional double hungs with matching exterior color. You have white color, though, in grill pattern as existing. Okay, any commissioners have any questions for Mr. Schultz? Did we have, I hate to do this, but did we have, were you on the previous commission meeting?
Yes, I was.
On behalf,
Yes, I was.
I just don't see normally we have to have something, some indication, but I know, I knew you were here. I just don't see it. But let's move forward with this. My only question is color.
Yes.
Because it's the exterior color of white wouldn't be a normal color in that age and style of house.
Of course. In this instance, all of the existing windows on the house have been painted white. So we were trying to match what was on the home at this point in time.
Any commissioners have any? I mean, the style window seems okay to me. Yeah, I had a question on color. Any other commissioners have questions on the application for?
Just a comment, that was what I saw as well. Every window in the house is white.
Okay. Anybody else? Okay, hearing no other questions or no other issues. Was there any public commentary on this, Alvin?
There's no comments.
No commentary. All right. So hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to accept the application for certificate of appropriateness at 91 Piney Woods Ave to replace the front porch windows and one side window with Pella Architect Series traditional double hungs with matching exterior color of white and a grill pattern as existing.
So moved.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, we'll call the vote. Commissioner Kroll,
Yes.
Commissioner Finn,
Yes.
Commissioner McFarland,
Yes.
Commissioner Belton,
Yes.
and Commissioner Walsh was a yes. You're all set. You'll be able to, take care of that in the morning. Well, I don't know what in the morning, but just get a hold of Alvin.
Wonderful. Thank you all.
Thank you. Next in line here, we have 120 Clarendon. Not finding my petition.
I'm here to speak on that.
Okay, hang on. Okay, just give me a second, guys. I'm missing a piece of paper here. This is an application for certificate of non-applicability. Construction extension to the rear of the existing garage with no changes visible from Clarendon Street using materials similar to the existing structure. The extension of the garage would be an extra 30 feet to the rear. Just from my own observation, I don't think there's a non-applicability here. So we'd have to address that to start with because.
Well, I'm not sure. Somebody pointed out in last meeting, the structure is not particularly significant in and of itself. It seems to have been built in the 60s and is a fairly ordinary wood frame garage. So I'm not sure if it's a hardship. It definitely can be seen from Worthington Street, and I tried to do some renderings of the roof as it will look if extended, which will be very similar to the same as it is. What would you suggest?
Well, I'm not sure. We can.
Is it appropriate? Is it appropriateness if it's a modern structure that's not significant?
It would probably. It has to be either a non-applicability. I guess maybe, I might be wrong about the non-applicability. I'm just not feeling that it's not applicability. I have a bunch of questions about It's making it's making a really big building. I had a question about, well, it's not our purview. I'll put the question out there, David, because you might have the answer. I wasn't sure if such a building of that size would be allowed in a residential neighborhood anyways. And
There are other buildings of that size, but nothing new that I'm aware of.
okay.
There was a very large garage built on Dartmouth Street, but I think that was before the district was created.
Yeah, and the part of this was that the visibility, you can't see it because of the fence, fences are temporary. They're not in the.
Right.
There are a couple of. I'm not sure if they got entered in. I don't think we read anything in last meeting, so we have 2 letters here that came in. I'm going to enter them into the record right now.
I'm just going to interject for one moment. Mr. Gaby, do you have the square footage of the, what would be the extension?
I can get that for you in a minute. Just a minute.
Okay, well, while you're searching, I'm going to read these into the record.
Go ahead.
This is Jim Boone, 97 Florida Street, January 13th, 2021. Dear Commissioners, regarding the garage, 120 Clarendon Street, having reviewed the concerns of the neighbors at 110 Clarendon Street about the huge addition of garage at 120 Clarendon Street, this addition would change a typical McKnight garage into a commercial-sized garage, inappropriate to the neighborhood. The additional parking needed would greatly change the yard. These are not temporary changes, but permanent, which is an added concern. I do not see this as a hardship, nor appropriate to the neighborhood, nor non-applicability, as it doesn't apply to the architectural integrity of the neighborhood. Thank you, Jim Boone. The other one is a little longer, so bear with me while I enter this into the record. Let me see, Dear Historic Commission, it doesn't give me who's from Karen Bogdanovich. Dear Historic Commission members, as an abutter to 120 Clarendon Street, a supporter of Springfield Historic Districts, and a homeowner whose restoration work on my house at 110 Clarendon Street was recognized by a Springfield Preservation Trust in 1993, and again by the Trust in 2018 with the Edward Sims Award for Stewardship, I'd like to comment on the proposal to extend the garage at 120 Clarendon Street. The proposed extension would more than double the size of the existing already large 2-bay garage to a 5-bay garage in a neighborhood where outbuildings are generally modest 1 to 2 car garages or original 1800s carriage houses. A new 5-bay garage is without precedent. The extension's proposed size would be considerably out of the proportion to the single-family home. The extension would be seen from Worthington Street and from St. James Ave. While a fence on an abutter may currently block some of the view of the lower portion of the garage, fences are not permanent. If they were removed, the non-historic design of any extension would be even more visible from public ways. The pavement or hard-packed dirt needed to support access to the proposed extension's 3-bay doors would turn a residential backyard into something more resembling an urban parking lot. This would be a significant change to the inherent character of the lot and this remarkable family residence. I believe that if constructed, the garage extension would have a permanent negative impact onto the historic, aesthetic, and property values of its own and its neighboring properties. Therefore, I'm against the proposal to extend the existing garage at 120 Clarendon Street. I invite the commission members or representatives to view the proposed building site from my yard at any time at their convenience, if needed, to get a better picture of the impact that a 30-foot garage extension with 3-bay doors would have. Thank you for consideration to this matter. Sincerely, Karen Bogdanovich. Okay. Fill us in, David, if you would.
Well, I think that I came up with a square footage. I'm not sure that the Karen's statements are exactly correct, but it is a 3-car extension to an existing 2-car garage. And I'm aware of no paving, and I'm not sure the commission has jurisdiction over paving.
Nope, we don't.
Concerns about. But the access is clearly going to be from the yard or the present yard. How frequent access is going to be, I have no idea. I think essentially Mr. Gray is attempting to provide for a place to store some of his collected automobiles. So that's more on the character with the carriage houses, but the building is definitely of a modern character. And if you remove the fence, I sent Alvin some pictures of, they're not really very good, of the extended roof that would be visible from Worthington Street, and I think it's very clear that it's visible, which I wasn't aware of when I submitted the application. So I'm not sure non-applicability is applicable, if that's the correct instruction.
Yep.
And then when we come down to appropriateness, what's the standard for managing modern buildings that exist in the district? That's, I think, something you guys have to think about. I'm not sure.
Okay. Commissioners. Please jump in.
I would just echo, I'm glad that those things were brought up, because those were my concerns, is that without the fencing, the building's clearly visible. The thing I always worry about, and I think that everyone worries about, is part of the historic preservation. It's not just for the current homeowner's use, but the next one and the one after that.
Right.
And while I have full respect for Stephen Gray, I don't know what the next owner might be. And when someone sees a 5-bay garage, that's somebody that's going to want to put 5 cars in there. But you know, the visibility, I guess, is a concern, and I also wouldn't want to approve something that might have a negative impact to the neighborhood down the line.
Once we approve this, and
Commissioner Belton. Yeah.
it sounds like Mr. Gray is saying he wants to store his vehicles there, we don't have any control over the use of that property if he decides that, well, I'm not going to store all my vehicles there. I'm going to do some repair on them in the garage.
And Walter's point is correct. If it turns out that Mr. Gray doesn't live forever and doesn't keep his vehicles there forever, it very well could be that somebody that we don't know with a roofing business, or as a real estate broker, I'm very sensitive to what Walter's saying about the kind of people that look for properties with large garages. There is the Historic District Commission controls the structure, not the use. The use is completely separate.
Right. Any other commissioner comments or questions for David?
Mr. Gaby,
Yeah.
was there any discussion about the potential of, since you're adding such a large, addition to the current building, was there discussion around constructing something more historically appropriate that would serve a similar purpose?
No, I can certainly initiate that discussion. I mean, one of the things I've been doing lately is going through a review of the files on buildings that have been demolished over a period of time, and we've lost an awful lot of carriage houses. So that, within the historical tradition, that would be an option, but so that's not something I've discussed.
Okay. Yeah, thank you.
So, the application is under non-applicability. So that's how we have to leave it for now. I mean, whether we could direct Mr. Gray to a different classification, I'm not sure. I don't know. It doesn't fit any of the 3 for me right now. I know that sounds fun.
Chairman Walsh, I see on the front page of the application a reference to ADA, which is circled. It says extension of garage will be an extra 30 feet to the rear, ADA.
That's my initials.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, he had me write some additional information on the application.
Okay, I see. Okay.
Yeah, that would have been a good question. Is what did that mean if it was Americans with Disabilities Act?
I thought for 2 more seconds, I probably could have figured that out.
Yeah. Any other questions for Mr. Gaby from commissioners? And no other public commentary came in other than what I read.
Yes.
Does Mr. Gaby have any more detail on what the doors will look like? Are those glass panels across?
They're not. They tried to find the ones with the glass panels. They were beaverboard or plywood door panels, and they had a row of glass windows, and they couldn't find them. And so this was a kind of a printed metal door that was as close as possible. But basically, it's just an opaque metal door that is an overhead panel door.
And there's no more detail to the door than that? It's just going to be a blank door like that?
No, it's a door. It comes in 5 sections that are horizontally broken, Mr. Belton.
Yes, I understand that. That's a little more detail than what you had given me before.
Each section has a series of squares embossed into it.
Okay.
They're kind of printed on to look like wood panels, but they're not really wood panels.
Because, Mr. Gaby, just a thought or a suggestion, if the doors replicated 2 doors that would open up, that would give it a little more character than the doors that are being presented, at least in my opinion.
We're talking about the doors on the side.
Right, they're not changing the the double door on the front.
The doors on the front will stay the same.
I'm not talking about those ones. I'm talking about the doors on the addition.
Right, on the side, yes, go ahead.
And we're having trouble getting the kind of doors that you're talking about. We would rather have the doors with the windows in them that you're speaking of, but and I can see if we can make 2 doors, but if you get 2 doors that are 15 feet wide or 13 feet wide, it's kind of difficult to use a swinging door.
No, I thought Tom was talking about the doors that would mimic like carriage doors, carriage house doors.
Because you can get those doors and they're a solid piece, but they present themselves as almost like 2 separate doors.
I'll check that out. I'm not sure what you're talking about, but I can look into that. But that would be on the side facing towards St. James Avenue, which I'm not seeing how it's visible, but that'll be that side. I think.
Right, I get it.
By the way, the addition would be 720 square feet.
So I'm still laboring over this. How do we label this particular application? I do think that we do have, has to come under, and Attorney Chuchuk, jump in if you have to. It's clearly, there's some applicability here because it's a visible, in fact, more so visible than it was presented initially, and which would be subject to some.
Well, it definitely is. Alvin and I went out. You can see.
Yeah, and I don't know that there's a hardship. I'm just not. I can't tell you. I can put my finger on.
Of any hardship.
No, I understand that. I know that. The appropriate. I think that what I have to do today is just take it for the application as the way it's written, and I'm not going to be able to figure it out. I don't think, but it's been submitted as a non-applicability. I happen to believe there is some applicability here relative to style and anything that's visible. But everybody feel free to disagree with me quickly. And if there isn't any more comments, I'd entertain a motion to accept the application for certificate of non-applicability for 120 Clarendon Street to construct an extension to the rear existing garage using material similar to the existing structure. Extension of the garage would be an extra 30 feet to the rear, or about 720 square feet, as David just stated. with 3 additional garage doors.
So moved.
Okay, moved by Commissioner Kroll, a second.
Second.
Commissioner Finn, second. Any discussion on that motion? Hearing none, we'll call the vote. Commissioner Kroll,
No.
Commissioner Finn,
No.
Commissioner McFarland.
No.
Commissioner Belton,
No.
and Commissioner Walsh is no. Obviously, David, that's not going anywhere in that form anyways, and it's been voted down, but, thanks for coming on with us.
Sure. I can't argue with anything that was said. I'm just, as I said, presenting it, and I'm not sure what the appropriateness of an inappropriate building is or how we should manage it.
Well, but we appreciate it anyways here. Okay, next. $135 Westminster.
Chairman Walsh, we did receive a letter earlier today from the homeowner. They will not be present, but their contractor, Mr. Chris Minnie, will be representing on their behalf.
Good evening, everybody. Chris Minnie with Lowe's Home Improvement at 1560 Boston Road in Springfield.
Yep.
So the last time I talked to you guys, she had that oval door. I gave her a bunch of different options. She bought a new door. It's the door you guys have in front of you now, and that's what we're looking to go forward with.
Any commissioners want to jump in there?
There was public commentary on this, is that correct?
Yeah, let's see what I have here.
Yep.
Was any of it entered in yet?
Not yet. So
Okay.
we have a letter from, I believe, Mr. Gaby.
Let me just read this into the record. Regarding 135 Westminster, greetings relative to the petition by owner of the above address to obtain approval for a new entry door. I feel that the owner and Lowe's representative should be praised for their good faith in applying for approval properly. At the same time, I have to agree that the proposed door is not appropriate. The new modern entry doors in a number of houses are very much out of character, and anything along the lines of the modern stained glass product should be avoided, as has been suggested. Further, as noted, these are very prominent features of the house, and we should make sure that we do not allow the characters of entries to be changed inappropriately. To elaborate further, I would suggest, based on the survey of the neighborhood, that the single door with plain glass is not a sufficient suggestion. Having consulted with the Lowe's, the correct concept may be a door with a half light rather than a small window at the top, which would be more typical of craftsman-style houses of 1910 and 1930. Further, it is apparently difficult to obtain a door without any inappropriate grills or other modern trim around the window. So it may be appropriate to encourage the owner to make a special order of a door with plain glass or to have the door retrofitted after being obtained. Thank you for this opportunity to provide input. Please let me know if further information is needed or might be useful. David P. Gaby, Design and Preservationist. That's the only one? There wasn't another one with that?
Nope, that's all we have. I
Okay.
can certainly, just to make sure you guys have it, I'll share the door that they are proposing. Just a moment.
Yeah, I see. I have my copy. I thought they had a better potential second window last 2 weeks ago.
Okay, you guys can see the proposed door?
Yeah.
Okay. And just to confirm, Mr. Minnie, that this is the door that your client is seeking. Okay.
That's the one they came in and purchased that. So we went off the last letter. I think it was from Mr. Boone. It said a more appropriate door would be glass in the upper 1/3 of the door. So that's when they came in. I mean, they have the options kind of to what looks like on her house now, but I mean, that's the one she picked. I couldn't.
Well,
No.
you what you're saying is there is availability of a half light door there. Half.
There's availability for anything. I mean, it's whatever the customer wants to pay for.
Yeah.
As far as going through Lowe's, we can get any kind of door really.
Yeah.
Can we confirm that this is in fact a craftsman style home? I don't see a picture of the home.
Give me just a moment. Let me see if I can find a picture and I'll share it.
Yeah, I thought I had one in the file and I don't either, but I have pictures of the previous suggested doors.
Yeah, I just attached pictures of the original door. I didn't know I had to take a picture of the whole house.
No, you don't. Well, he'll come up.
Okay.
We usually have a picture of the house. Even this door is still not, when we talked 2 weeks ago, I kind of thought we got to where we had to be. And, obviously we can take a vote on it. What do we have for time on the? This was submitted in December 15th. How you making out, Alvin?
Searching on Google Street Finder. Give me just a moment.
Oh, okay. The ideal for me would be to have nearly the top half of that door be straight glass with no lights or anything, just one piece of glass. Well, 2 pieces of glass, but you know what I mean.
We have a house at 95 Westminster Street a couple months ago that we went through something similar, and they actually found it at Lowe's. And then
Yeah, well, obviously this gentleman from Lowe's says they have it.
Yeah, that's what I maybe made an assumption. That's what the choice was going to be. This is similar, but the glass, it's not what the other one was.
Yeah, so I sent her a link of all, I had 7 or 8 item numbers of all the doors that looked exactly like the ones you guys said. And then, she called up, she came into the store. I wasn't at the store at the time because I don't work in the store. I cover a bunch of stores.
Sure.
She called me, she said, "Hey, I got a new door." And I went and looked at it. I said, "That's all right." And that's what we're here with now,
Yep. Well, we appreciate that. I mean, she's close. We just got to have her decide, because I'm not sure that I could vote for this door. I mean, we have to have a hearing as you're here for it, a public hearing and a vote. I just wish that the petitioner was on so we could,
You guys can see the house, correct?
Yes.
Yes. Thank you.
No problem.
Just can't see the door. Oh, I can just see the.
Yeah, I try to get a front view, but there's a tree blocking.
Either way, is blocking it. Okay.
Yeah.
But that just looks like it has that semicircle on the top. I can't really tell.
Yeah, that's
that's not the door it had on it now. And right now, I think it has 2 little windows on top.
Oh, 2 little windows. Okay.
Yeah, it's not the original. It's not the door that's in that picture.
Right. I could have sworn we had a picture of that door in the last file.
Yeah, the original package.
But I'm just not seeing it.
Yeah, it is a.
I see it. I got it.
Oh, yeah, you guys are right. Yeah, it is that half thing. It just looks a little weird. Yeah.
Well, it's squared off there.
Yeah.
Well, if commissioners, please jump in with opinions if you would. And if we don't have any other to add, I'd entertain a motion to accept the application for certificate of appropriateness at 135 Westminster to install a new entry door with no other structural change.
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Finn, motion, and second by Commissioner Kroll. Any discussion on that motion? I'm going to back up a second here. We could probably continue.
That was going to be my suggestion. Continue till the homeowner can, say what.
I don't want to get timed out, but I'm just checking to see the time. I think we can continue. I'd ask whoever, Commissioner Finn, if you could withdraw your motion.
I will withdraw my motion.
And then entertain a motion to continue to the next meeting of, I don't have the date in front of me, if Alvin can throw that out.
Next meeting date is February 4th. I guess, what's the time frame that we have? I don't have the application in front of me.
Date received was 12/15.
So that means we only have one meeting.
Right, we have one more meeting. They'll have to be voted on in the next meeting.
In my opinion, because we only have one meeting, unless the property owner's not here, if they give an extension, if they don't give an extension, I would say just vote it down and have them reapply. Only because
We could do that in February.
If we don't have a quorum for the next meeting, if we don't have a next meeting,
I get you.
then it passes by default.
I would suggest that as long as we have a quorum this evening, we vote it down so it doesn't fly by, because all the exact same commissioners weren't there for the vote.
Okay, I'm okay with that. I didn't want to rush through the vote. Just wanted to clarify a few things. So I'm still open to accepting a motion to accept the application for a certificate of appropriateness at 130, is that 9 or 5 Westminster, to remove and install a new entry door with no structural change.
Also, everyone, if we do extend it to February 4th, and if the door that she has now currently isn't good enough, I can get her back into the store and try it again and have one a little bit more appropriate for the next time too, because I can just get her back in the store again. Hopefully, if she doesn't, if this one's not up to standard enough, if you guys can give me a better direction with that, they're working there, and I can try to be actually in the store and like, hey, this is the one you're gonna have to get if you want a new door.
Okay. No, we'd appreciate that. Any other commentary on the motion? Any other discussion on the motion?
I would just suggest that, out of respect to time for the contractor and the owner, I know they were talking that it wasn't secure. If we could maybe share that door that we did approve, I think it was 95 Westminster Street. But Alvin, maybe you can look at that so that, the homeowner isn't going back and forth to Lowe's just guessing what we think we would approve.
Okay, I'll see if I can find that. Give me just a moment.
Thanks. It doesn't have to be the second, but if we can get that to the contractor and the owner, just so that they have some direction on what we've approved already, kind of like how we do with windows and whatnot. So we can't direct anyone, but we can show them what has been approved.
Well, clearly this petitioner has,
Okay.
working with Lowe's, and it's okay. I would think it would be okay for us to tell them she's already working with the retailer, so she can.
Yeah.
And if they can provide something that fits, it's okay.
So this is the door that you guys approved, if you guys can see it.
Yep.
Now, would not a door with like a half, I call it half light, but with larger straight flat glass be appropriate as well?
Yeah, is that like the only difference going on? It's like flat glass with a grill, right? Because so if that door that she bought would just had a grill on it, it would have been acceptable kind of thing.
Well, this one here, that one has, the leaded is not, that leaded design is not.
Oh yeah, with all that stuff in it and stuff. But but that size window is good if it's just got a grill on it, and flat plain glass would be good.
Well, that would be up to the commissioners. But certainly voice your opinions while we have this gentleman listening here. I was actually picturing a whole different door than that, but
Chairman Walsh,
Chairman
Walsh, you're talking about a door where the actual windows occupy roughly half of the door's area.
Yeah, just less than half of the door's area. That's correct. Either one of those would be okay with me if it's okay with you guys. Clearly that one we just looked at is better than the other ones I was just picturing, when I drove around, I saw more doors with more glass. Nothing, no, not broken into lights. So, anyway, the motion is on the table to accept the application for appropriateness, and it's been seconded. Is there any further discussion on the motion?
Can I ask one thing?
Go ahead.
This whole Zoom, there's a conversation thing that popped up on the side here, and David Gadby said that window's not good either.
Let me see.
I don't know what that.
I sent an idea for a door with a half light. Well, I actually agree on the half light. That's not good. Okay. Yeah. Well, that's. Yeah. Oh, hold on. It's trying to throw me out. Okay. I'm actually not supposed to take any more like public commentary in the middle of a motion.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know what that was. I just
no, it's okay. It's okay. I didn't even see it pop up. So, if there's no other discussion on this motion, I will just call the vote. Commissioner Kroll?
No.
Commissioner Finn?
No.
Commissioner McFarland?
No.
Commissioner Belton?
No.
And Commissioner Walsh is no. So this has been voted down. She's going to have to submit a new application for certificate of appropriateness. It's very close. That it's, I'm not sure how the commissioners feel about that. The larger glass, when I see it, I feel like it's more appropriate, but it's not up to me. And other commissioners seem to think that not that, it's even less glass than that one. The one where but I wish we could give them a little more direction there relative to what would be approved, because I hate having this. If she were here, we might have been able to settle it, but without the homeowner, we probably our only option was to vote it down and have her resubmit. But Chris, you have an idea of what we're talking about. Hopefully you can.
If you guys can see what's on the screen here, this is what Jim Boone from the neighborhood had suggested at the last meeting.
Okay, except without the stuff in the middle of it.
Without the internal blind.
Right, without the internal stuff, just glass. Okay.
What about a grill over that? Like the grill thing, that'd be fine.
Nope.
Just
when you have that big glass, there's no grills.
Big glass, no grills.
Right.
Got it.
I mean, I don't know if the commission feels that other window that was approved down the road would be appropriate here. I don't feel that way, but there's 8 other people. So I think we've given you the best direction we can right now. And this has been moved and voted down. So she's got to put another application together quickly for the next meeting. And we appreciate you coming and talking to us here, Chris.
All right. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Okay, let me get this file here. All right, this is 163 Piney Woods. Just an application for certificate of hardship for the front porch renovation rebuild. They have given us documents to support the hardship. Any other public commentary on this, Alvin?
We didn't receive any commentary on this particular matter.
Okay. Sorry, I'm just going through a couple things here. Does a petitioner have anything they want to add to this?
I think we have a mic issue with Mr. Manning.
Yeah, we can't hear you. Go ahead, keep trying though.
Hear me now?
Yep, I can hear you now.
Oh, perfect. Sorry about that. Yep, this is Shane Manning at 11 Branch Road, Wilbraham, Mass.
Thank you.
Manning Capital, 163 Piney Woods Ave. To recap what we covered in the last meeting and the reason why we're, as a response to the revocation of certificate of non-applicability, we had submitted an application for a certificate of hardship because there was a long list, 9 total complaints from the neighborhood that we had discussed, 3 of which were incorrect. So we dropped those, and we wanted to come to a middle ground, right, Chairman Walsh?
Yes.
That's where we left it off, right? Try to come up with a middle ground because
that's about where we are. Yeah, we were hoping that there would be something that you. I mean, I was looking to you to propose something that we might be able to get on board with.
Understood.
Is your contractor on board with us today?
Yep. Yeah, Zachary Hickman's on board.
Okay, thank you. Okay, but go ahead and tell us what you're thinking.
Yeah. So, and my contractor and I had a lot of conversation leading up to today's call to see what we could do, because again, the hardship that we had applied for in the bank records that we showed, we don't have money to support any changes because we put all of our money into this investment. And I just want to reiterate, because it looks like there's other members of the board that weren't there in the last meeting. We're not seasoned investors here. We've been in business for just over a year. This is our first single family investment, going swell. I think it looks great, but clearly, there's some things that were not perfectly aligned. I think the original confusion of why we're all here today is the way we applied for the non-applicability certificate. So my contractor and I pulled up the original communication. How do we get to this point in the first place? What happened? We had no issues. I don't understand. So we pulled up the emails, and we had sent everything over to Alvin Allen for review. And as a response, Alvin had said, if you put no change in design or material, please apply for a certificate of non-applicability if you write this, right? And I think there was just confusion on my contractor's behalf that he thought that blueprint that we had shared was reviewed and that's how you apply because of whatever reason, right? Because technically what we built matches the neighborhood, so maybe there was no change. So there was some confusion on the front end on how we applied. There was nothing disingenuous, just a confusion around miscommunication via email, right? And that was addressed head on in the beginning and why we're all here. So we reviewed everything, right? And I physically can't pay to make any of these changes except and I'm trying to pull it up here. There is there's drainage holes on the side of the porch, right? It looks like we installed the drainage holes on the front that you can see from the street, but there are no drainage holes on the side. That is a project that would not impact the entire frame of the porch and basically require us to take the whole porch down and rebuild it. Therefore, we are willing to do that and make that change and meet that complaint and install those drainage holes on each side to match the best we can on original pictures.
Okay. I want to suggest a couple things. One, this is my position as a commissioner, not as the chair. I'm actually okay. I drove the neighborhood. I looked around. I'm actually okay with the roof. And I feel like that had you a petition telling us that that roof was going to be changed from a flat roof to this roof, that I would have approved it as long as it mimicked other houses in the neighborhood, which it appears to, and of the same material that and it appears to do that. And I know you used the word that I used in the last meeting, disingenuous. And I still feel that's true at this point, only because in the early, from what I hear, was not, as you know, I was not part of any conversations or anything. I got everything secondhand. That several phone calls after that were not probably handled professionally and appropriately. But you know, when Alvin was telling you that to put, you know, no changes in design, I would expect that a professional contractor would have said, well, there is going to be a design change. Not if we put this on there, whatever we submit is going to be okay, because it's clearly a different design. That's where the disingenuous comes. But had you applied for the roof, I myself as a commissioner would have approved it that way. And possibly even the difference in the floor, because what I've seen looking around, and you know, I don't drive around neighborhoods trying to find this stuff, by the way, but what I've seen from floors, I've seen them both ways. So if you had asked me that the floor be changed as well, I probably would have gone along with that. The issue I have when I look at it is the height of the railings, and I don't know exactly how the front steps, you know, I don't remember what the original one was relative to what the new one was. So had you come initially with those changes, I think most of this could have gotten approved and we wouldn't be here. And I'm going to go back to the hard part, and it's hard for me sometimes too, but relative to the hardship, it's not considered a hardship if something is done incorrectly and then it costs you money to restore it to the way it was supposed to be. That's cost you money, but that's not considered the hardship. That's why I read it to you from the legal opinion. I don't happen to have it in front of me this time. That's why I read it 2 weeks ago, so you would know that. We can't consider that it costs you money to fix it as part of your hardship. So let me ask you right out straight. If the roof was taken off the table, and any other commissioners jump in on this if nobody's thinking the same thing as I am. And you know, I know it's a major structural design to drop those railings to the windowsill height. You know, I could probably approve those things. Now, I'm not a contractor. I think one of the estimates was, what was the estimate to redo number? Here's the original.
Just about every quote or each complaint was north of $5,000.
How much was it? I couldn't quite hear you.
The other quotes, aside from the drainage quotes, were north of $4,000 or $5,000.
Okay. I mean, am I saying anything that we might be able to put 2 and 2 together here and get 4 or what? I mean, the drain holes isn't probably going to be enough for me. And I imagine you're going to sell the house right away.
I mean, it's listed and yeah. it's not selling right away.
Well, I mean, your goal is to sell it, you're not going to live there. Because if you were going to live there, there might be the potential to give you a hardship as long as it was corrected in a certain period of time. But we can't do that because your goal is to sell the house. And we need to solve the problem before the other people buy it.
And I can appreciate that. And that's why I had highlighted in my justification for hardship the special conditions as well. Because a lot of these concerns were supposed to be addressed when the work stop order was issued on November 5th. But for whatever reason, that was granted and revoked 2 business days later. So we moved forward, assuming that this was understood that it was a clerical error, there was mistakes made, and that we went ahead and built everything and invested this money and time and material and labor to rebuild the porch. And then we received the revocation of non applicability a month and a half later. And that's why we had included special conditions as a part of our hardship application, because the timeline there I don't think is fair to me as the owner. If there was an issue with the build of the porch, that should have been addressed immediately and upon the issue of the work stop. We're told it was a clerical error, right? We were told it was a clerical error. Then we were told that the work stop order is lifted and that now my contractor can get back to work. And we move forward thinking everything is good to go. And that's exactly what we did. And then when everything is all said and done, the whole project is done, we get a piece of mail from Robert Shushuk here saying that there's a revocation of non-applicability and just a laundry list of stuff that nobody likes. And
Right.
That's just not fair to me as a homeowner. And I also want to I just would hope that the commission would take into consideration the condition of this home when I bought it and how long it has been an eyesore for the entire community. I mean, this porch originally was falling into the ground, and the whole home was neglected and nobody was buying it. It was bank owned for a long time. As I understand it, it was kind of a nightmare from a legal perspective. There was a lot of cases against the bank on this property. We came in, we invested a lot of our own capital to make it beautiful and renovate it, and we did the best we could. We just completely botched this application, and we're falling on a sword there. But I really want to lay into the special conditions aspect, because you guys clearly state in there that you can apply for a certificate of hardship for special conditions, and given that timeline, we want that to be in consideration when voting for this for certificate of hardship. And I don't have any money left to make any of these changes. It's already strapped for me to install the drainage holes.
Well, believe it or not, I understand your frustration. Unfortunately, I'm sorry, I've been going through papers as you spoke, because I'm trying to find that paper you're talking about. This file's pretty big, and I just can't put my hand on it here. Relative to the hardship.
Which
I mean, I have for crying out loud.
My 8-month-old is running around here, so I apologize.
If you gotta do that, we will understand.
No, he's good. When he's in his walker, he's good.
Yeah, I just can't. I'm sorry it's taken me this much time.
All good.
See, and I haven't found that, but I'm gonna backtrack again relative to what I signed and the non-applicability, because I signed something that says no change in design or material, when clearly there were going to be planned changes. And Alvin,
we were asked to submit a blueprint attached to that application, so the blueprint was
right, but non-applicability by definition is replicating what's there with no design change or whatever.
I agree with you. Trust me, I fully.
And I know you understand that.
There was clearly confusion via email between my contractor and Alvin Allen on how we were supposed to move forward with the application, because we went about everything the right way right off the jump. And I know what you're saying. I get it. I get it. I'm still trying to find some compromise in here. I don't think it's going to be just on drainage holes though. But any other commissioners feel free to jump in, because I know you've all reviewed this, and this is a tough one. I think that at some point, I mean, is it true that the communication was out of line with Alvin at one point? And
I don't know if I can step in for a second. I'm Zachary.
Please do, because I believe you were the one on the phone.
Zachary Hickman. I live at 1 Elm Terrace in West Bridgewater, Massachusetts.
Thank you, Zachary.
So initially, the process in Springfield Historical District was new to me. I had initially sent Alvin the blueprint. I emailed him asking for some pictures of the house originally. Pictures were tough, which, I'm sure it's tough for you guys to get all the pictures from forever ago, which is understandable. And I asked him, I sent him the blueprint, had asked him about, how to apply. He replied back to me of what to apply for. Previously, we had a conversation about the roof. He didn't think it was an issue. Definitely, totally could have been my fault, my misinterpretation of what I took, what Alvin said, incorrectly. So I don't, I don't want to play the blame game. Like, I think I totally just misinterpreted, maybe what he said of how to apply. We weren't like viciously trying to, do this in a sense to like be here today. I mean, I spent $1,500 on those blueprints, you know what I mean, to have drafted that I submitted to try to do it properly, A, for you guys, and B, to get passed over to the building department. And I understand, Shane and I have had many conversations about, finding the middle ground to present to you guys, but him financially not having the money, shortening railing is a spitfire of different things. Those posts were $1,500. Those posts will be too short. We're now taking apart and replacing cedar shake. We're going to be repainting the exterior of the porch. It's not just, if it were that simple, if I had a way, I could just drop the railings or the railing height below the windows, I'd be all for it. But I mean, he's going to spend a large amount of money that, he doesn't have, me even trying to give him the best price that I can to where I can break even. He doesn't financially have the means to do it. So I don't know really where the middle ground is. You could keep them posts and pit them on pedestals. I don't quite understand what that.
I see that, but I don't know what that means either.
Yeah.
There's a lot of issues here, and there's a lot of reasons people can be frustrated with the system. We try to make the system move smoother when we think something is no change in design or material. And I am allowed to sign something. I am not here to look through to make sure that that statement on the front of an application is true or not. Just like anything else, if something says something very specific and something in the middle of that application or something in that blueprint is different, and we don't catch it, it doesn't make it put the onus on us because we didn't see that the blueprint was different than the actual house, which I wouldn't know what it was anyway. But when a contractor says to me, one of the things I'm allowed to sign when a contractor says to me, no change in design or material, it's okay. Then it's not applicability, and you can go on your way. But that's not quite what happened, and that's why we're here. And the fact that there's not money right now can't be considered part of the hardship. He's spent the money on the porch, and now it's found to be not appropriate. So we can't use that, and I know that's upsetting. But other commissioners, I need to get some other opinions because if other people, please jump in. David, if your mic's off if you're talking to us.
Okay.
My apologies.
If I can put a little note in.
Well, not David Gaby. I'm talking about David Finn, but you can talk in a minute, David. Go ahead, David.
So you can hear me now, I'm assuming. How far would the current rail need to be dropped to be in line with the bottom sill? Does anyone know that? Are we talking?
It would have to be dropped almost about 8 inches, but the problem is everything there is structural. I can't just like stick blocks under it to support it. Do you know what I'm saying? Like the way everything is constructed, I mean, I still have to follow the building codes of the structural integrity. I'm not able to just kind of, block everything underneath it to support the entire roof system. That's part of the problem.
Understood. And I had a question, I think, similar to maybe a couple of other people, and that is, if the railing height was in fact altered, could the columns, either on the top, bottom, or both, be added to in a manner that would, keep them architecturally correct, but prevent from having to purchase new columns?
Yeah, I don't see how that would be possible. It's one of the biggest concerns that I had. I mean, if you guys are okay with all of a sudden there are now 4 inches of squareness on the top and the bottom, but I don't really see how it would work. I mean, you're then again changing the original design even more. So I don't really know. It's kind of one or the other, in my opinion,
Right. I just know that alternative would be significantly less money than purchasing new columns. So just a question. Thank you.
Yep.
I had a, okay, anyway. I'd like to get some more questions and commentary from commissioners, please.
Porches have always been difficult for us, and I think this highlights the need that whenever we get a application for a porch, that we are clearly able to see what the finished product is going to look like and what it's going to be made of.
Well, that really wasn't the question, Tom, at the time. Yeah, you supplied a blueprint that was not the same structural and indicated on the front that there would be no structural or material changes.
No, I understand that. Just answering his question, I did supply a picture of what it'll look like when it's finished.
Yeah.
So did it replicate what the original porch looked like?
No, that's why we're here tonight, Tom.
Tom, I'm going to show you a before picture. I'll show you an after picture. Screen share in just a moment.
Okay. And while he's getting that ready, Mr. Manning, so there's your only option is to add drains. There's no other potential for agreement here?
Correct. Just because of the massive structural changes that are entailed in making all of the other adjustments.
Can't really hear you, Shane.
No, I heard you. Yeah, I couldn't. It was not loud, but I could hear you.
I don't know what's going on there. Yeah, because there's such a massive structural change to each one, and it's not just a quick fix. That's where we're struggling pulling that off financially. And again, I can't stress enough the special conditions aspect of the hardship application, because that is specifically noted in your documents that is a means of hardship. And if this were actually addressed on November 5th, when that work stop order was addressed, then we would have not spent the time, material, and energy to finish it as is. We would have went back to the historical commission. We would have addressed everything the way we should have addressed it, and then moved forward with everything fully approved. But we were told that it was a clerical error and that we can move forward. And that's why again, I can't.
Was that correct, though, Alvin? Sorry to cut you off, but Al, didn't you tell him that they had to apply for, either
at the time when the stop work order was given, they said they asked how can they resolve it, and even in the stop work order, I believe. Well, nonetheless, I had a conversation with them, and stated that they would have to come before the commission. They were opposed to coming before the commission and basically asked me to resolve it, since it was my, they felt like it was my error that I approved the plan. And they felt like going before the commission would then take them out of their time frame for completing the project and then selling the house, under their time frame. I chatted with my director and just asked his opinion. He stated that, okay, you made this mistake. We'll chalk it up as a clerical error. And so I came back to the property owner and the contractor and explained as such. is that, I made the error. I looked at the plans. I didn't see the fine details, and I signed off on it. And so from that point forward, I allowed them to move. I rescinded. I had the building department rescind the stop work order, and I allowed them to move forward. But from that point thereon, I spoke with Commissioner Walsh, and he basically asked for a legal opinion, and that's how I got you involved, Attorney Shuchuk.
That's right.
And again, I just want to show you guys the picture. So this, it's sideways, but this is the previous structure before any work. And just to answer Tom's question. And then here is the existing structure.
No, well, there's the stairs. I see. Yeah.
And I also want to show you per their plans that they stated that, they did everything per their plans. As you can see, the staircase as what it is there today. I'll show you what they have on their plans. So these are the front steps for their plans. So you can see, the base of the staircase, the siding of the staircase.
So initially, those stairs were going to mimic what was there previously.
Yes, and this is what's there today.
Okay. Okay.
So just quickly, just a question. So you said you spoke to your director, then you reviewed the plans. You guys were chalking it up as a clerical error outside of us changing the staircase to a neighboring house, which we had discussed. We did do the last meeting. None of this other stuff that was brought up on this report was reviewed when you reviewed the prints at that time as well?
I'm sorry, say that again.
You had said you had spoke to your director when the whole roof thing had occurred, and you had said, yeah, you signed off on the plans, you went back to the plans, you reviewed the plans, and you were going to chalk it up as a clerical error, and we were good to proceed. All the other items listed on the complaints, besides the stair rails, because those were different on our blueprint, none of that other stuff was addressed on that matter before lifting the work order, and we were just able to continue with all the other changes in design.
Again, I didn't notice any of those other changes, but I did state to you that if there are any changes that you would have to come before the commission.
We're going somewhere that we can't get to.
But
we're not going to hash over who did what. Couple things. I'm going to go back to the original application. I'm going to go back to what I signed. Non-applicability, no change in design or material. It is not the onus of the commission to make sure that you didn't stick something in there that's different. That's actually, you signed a piece of paper and submitted to us saying that there were no changes, even though you submitted plans, which is that way we could picture it, saying that there was no change in design or material. There clearly was. And then when you were suggested that you come back before us, you refused, is from what I've heard. I don't know. You can clarify that. But at least the front steps, again, you didn't come and say, well, we can't change. We got to change the front steps. You didn't.
I completely understand that. But what I'm saying is why is it not okay for us to fill out something incorrectly by mistake? It's not okay for that, but it's okay for when he reviewed the print. It's okay for you guys to do something, but not okay for us to do something. I know you don't want to talk about that, but that's what.
That's not our purview. Now you're getting into legal things that I can't make opinions on. I can't make opinions I can't make a legal opinion on whether you said something intentionally knowing or misleading in that application.
It's not a legal opinion. It's common ground of what we're speaking about here.
Well, I've already laid out my common ground, and I'm only going to repeat it one more time. Because, and then I'll give every other commissioner a chance to speak, and you and Mr. Manning a chance to speak again, and then we have to address the vote on this. I am willing to compromise. I would have accepted the roof. I don't know now that Alvin put up the front steps. I don't know that I would have gone along with that. I would have gone along with probably with the flooring being the opposite direction. And David Gaby suggested something for the columns. I don't know what that is, but I would even be open to something like that as long as it was structurally similar and mimicked in some way the style and design of the house so that those columns could still be reused. I don't find that I can approve of the railings where they are, and the front steps are just not that looks like you just finished them up quick so you could just whatever. But that in of itself would have had to come before us just for the stairs. So what I'm telling you is that I could approve the roof the way it is, and if there were some attempt to mitigate the railing heights, I would be able to approve that. But anyway, let me get you guys. I'll let you guys speak again in a minute. Let me just get commissioners because I want every commissioner to speak on this. You don't have to.
I'm really with Commissioner Walsh, to get to that common ground. There's some things that are acceptable and there's some things that aren't. And the railings are probably the biggest issue that I see on coming to that common ground. Without those railings coming down, I know I personally won't be giving you a yes.
Anybody else?
Yeah, I would second that, Chairman Walsh. The railing height, the stairs are unacceptable to me. The drainage holes, I wouldn't say it's irrelevant, just not all that important. The orientation of the floorboards is less important as well, considering the circumstances here. The roof is fine. And I'm certainly sympathetic to both the contractors and owners' position here, but it's too far a departure from the original appearance.
Any other commissioners? Okay, Mr. Manning, if you'd like to speak again, please.
Yes, I'm at a loss, gentlemen.
So am I.
I'm at a loss. This should have been addressed on November 5th, and we were under the impression that there was clearly a mutual error, and we moved forward. I don't know what happened with those stairs. I don't understand how that happened. That's a whole different conversation, I guess. But
well,
yeah, because this is such a bizarre timeline, gentlemen. Very bizarre. I received this notification weeks after there was an actual issue, when the complaints came, and you guys said that this is wrong, but we went back to the work order. Like, how did you guys sign off on the work order?
Yeah, well, I've already explained that to you.
I understand that, but again, I can't stress enough, gentlemen. The special conditions of this have to be in consideration because I have no other option after that. I have no other option. I don't know what else to do, and I would have expected that there would be more time and energy focused there than the fact that whether I can rebuild the thing or not. That's a whole separate issue.
Well, if with no mitigation of what you already did, then it's that way forever. And you're only going to own it for as little short a period of time as you possibly can.
That's not necessarily guaranteed because it's not selling, and now I'm
well,
looking.
I understand, but your goal, as mine would be, because I've invested in real estate myself. My goal is to sell it and make money. So I know your goal is not to hang on to it.
Yeah, I would just like to add that we improved the property, right? I mean, that thing was sitting there for years, and it did not look good at all. There was nothing that was aligned with historical thing, and we improved the property, and nobody else was doing that, right? And
we understand that. This is not it's not. First of all, it's not as easy as you for us as you might think, but it's also we operate on guidelines that are set. We can't make them up or change them at will.
That's why I keep going down the special conditions path for the certificate of hardship.
Right.
And
Well, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to take just a couple of minutes because I don't have that in front of me, and I'm going to take a minute and shut my mic off, and I'm going to look for it. And if everybody doesn't mind, I'm going to take till I want to find that. So I'm going to just shut myself off here for a moment.
Of course.
Commissioner Walsh?
I think he's muted, Tom.
Go ahead, Commissioner Belton.
What was the application originally submitted under?
It was under non-applicability.
Okay. And we know that that's not the case, right?
Yes, correct. There was a time. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
And we know that it doesn't meet the criteria for a hardship.
Well, I don't know that. He resubmitted material that I do not have in front of me. And while I did read it when I got it, I need to find it in my email again, and I need to read it again. So that's why I don't want to have a motion or a vote until I've reviewed that. And, and I might suggest in the minute or two or a couple minutes it's going to take me, I would suggest that all of us review that. Yeah, this one, there's more sides to this one than I've seen nearly ever. But anyway, I'm going to, like I said, I'm going to not excuse myself. I'm just going to mute myself for a minute so I can find this. And I'll, I'm not, the meeting is still in order, so I'll be right back.
Hey Shane, I actually went to that house to rent back like 10, 15 years ago. It's kind of small world.
Same house?
Yeah, 163 Piney. I took a look at that like right when I got out of law school, so 10, 15 years ago. So when I saw it, I was like, oh, I know this house.
Yeah, 5 bedrooms.
Yeah.
That's why I'm saying that I might not sell it. If it's not selling, then it could be a rental of some kind. I mean, what I do with
There's a bunch of college kids trying to look for a spot, so we got a spot, a couple, like a street down. But
it's a great location.
Yeah.
And not a big backyard, but you have a park. You have literally the entire park,
Exactly.
And we want to get this whole situation right. I mean, we own a 2-family right next door. We love the neighborhood. We were excited about improving this property. It's just now I feel like a criminal over here. So I really would hope that figure this out. Chairman Walsh, I have this and I have it in front of me. If you want me to read it.
Yeah, because I'm not finding it, Alvin. Why am I missing this?
It says approved and modified in December 2007. These were the basically the guidelines that were given to me when I purchased the property, and it said what kinds of certificates are available. Number 2 is hardship, and it says issued for those changes that are not appropriate, but which may be necessary due to economic, physical, social, or other special conditions.
Right.
And that's where we landed, given this is such a multifaceted issue here, and it's well beyond the build of the structure because of the timeline, because all of it should have been addressed much earlier, and it wasn't. So we're kind of going back and forth here. I would just hope that, it looks great. It matches the neighborhood generally. I think anybody driving by, a passerby, would not notice. We've had neighbors show up to open houses and compliment the great work. I don't think that we've made it worse. And I just would like everyone to focus on the special conditions. And obviously I've learned my lesson here. I'm an owner of another property in the neighborhood. I want to do what's right. And
Yeah, I wasn't looking for, I was under the impression that you gave us reasons why you should specifically fit under hardship. That's what I couldn't find. I understand what we say is a hardship, but which is why I read to you the legal opinion 2 weeks ago, that the financial part, especially in an investment property, if the financial hardship is caused because the work was done not in the manner that would have been approved by the commission, then that can't be part of the hardship, because then somebody could just do something to their house and say, now I'm broke, now you guys are stuck with it. That's
Yeah, it's a slippery slope.
well, it's one of the opinions I get from the legal department. You do have
basically what's happening now.
What's that, Commissioner Belton?
I said that's basically what's happening now.
Yes, is what's happening.
There's a hardship on the property because of something that the owner and the contractor did, and now they're claiming hardship for something that they created.
Well, that's what the dispute is, certainly. I don't discount that you improved the house dramatically, and somewhere along the line, I hope there's profit in it there for you. What I do discount is the presentation of information to us with the expectation that you could write, no change in material, design or material, and expect that the blueprint would cover you. But that I can say that 10 more times. It's not going to change anything.
But the special conditions is focused around the timeline of when this was addressed. This was not addressed in a timely manner, therefore not giving us an opportunity to fix whatever there was an issue by weeks.
Well, I think when Alvin gave you the good okay to go start working again, he meant under your application, no change in design or materials. He didn't know that you were going to continue making changes that were, there were no change in design or materials.
Well, I'm not sure.
There was nothing. No, there was nothing else addressed. We got the green light to move forward with the work order, because that was the issue. And I know that my contractor had gotten frustrated there because he works hard to get the work order approved and before he can actually do his work. And so we moved forward with the work order.
Well,
then the work order had the measurements of the railing, and then that's where the issue was, and that's why I'm talking about special conditions here, right?
Commissioner Kroll, were you?
We're going round and round, and so
we are.
I'd like a point of order from Attorney Suchek, because really it's what the owner and the contractor are saying is, listen, I sent you what we were going to do. We may have gotten it wrong, but this is what we were going to do, and we're basically saying, or what's the commission is saying, well, you said no changes, but you made changes. So as far as the city's the legal opinion, which side do we decide from this? How are we interpreting this?
Well, once there was a change on the application, it should have been void, and so that's basically what it is. The second there was some falsity on the application, it's technically void. So,
hey, commissioners, I just emailed everyone the hardship justification, and I'll also screen share it just for the purposes of public record.
Okay, thank you.
Just a moment. Can everyone see?
Yes.
Okay. So this was attached to their application. Should have been in you guys' packets, but if you don't have it, here is the
looking through everything and not seeing something looks like that. Okay. You can scroll that a little if you would.
Okay.
Okay, that's good.
You guys want me to just read through it?
If you want, go ahead.
I read this in the last meeting, Alvin, right?
I can't hear. Who's speaking?
Shane Manning.
Okay.
For the record, I did read this in the first meeting.
Okay.
That, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just
okay.
I appreciate you bringing it up on the screen, though. This is great. Thank you.
Yep, no problem.
Yeah, I remember it now that I'm seeing it. And I knew I'd read it, but I didn't want to not read it again before we move forward. You can scroll some more of that if you'd like. Oh, is that it? All there is? Oh, no, there's more, yeah. Okay, I'm all set with it. It's, I appreciate reading it because what I'm reading here is although our original application for non-applicability was unintendedly contradictory, the Historical Commission should have never approved our plans. Our plans are clearly outlined in the submitted blueprint. So what this boils down to is an application that was submitted with, I want to pick the word carefully, but the face of the application versus the body of the application didn't match. And that's why we're here. And, I'm still willing to find a middle ground. I don't think it's at leaving it the way it is.
I noticed a lot of the properties in the neighborhood, they have like the it's kind of just like I don't know what you want to call it, just kind of like a metal pipe handrail.
Sure.
Yeah, just pipe rails. While everyone's talking, I'm paying attention here, and I'm just really trying to brainstorm through my head, the most cost-effective way without having to remove those posts and lower the height of those rails. I was going back, looking through some stuff as well. It's about a 6 to 8 inch difference, which is going to disturb a lot of things in the porch. So is there a way to come to a compromise to leave the height of the railing 6 inches higher than originally was? I mean, in the sense of, we're going to lower the rails to have a view of illegal vinyl windows that were put in prior to Shane's ownership. If we were to put the scuppers in the side of the porch and redo the rails, whether you guys will go for pipe rails or you would like us to build the walls with the shakes.
Pipe rails are generally acceptable.
We could do new rails and the scuppers on the side. I mean, I'm even willing to do it's basically like a wall built step down with the shakes on the side, and change the stair rails because I can cover some of that cost, to help Shane. I just can't see, without disturbing so much of the porch, to be able to lower the height of those rails. So I don't know if changing the porch rails and adding those scuppers, which I did just circle back to a photo Alvin Allen sent me original. It was really hard, black and white, to sell. They do have scuppers on the side of the porch. The only reason I didn't put them there is the porch is slightly pitched to drain off the front of the porch, so no water is going to come out of it. But if it aesthetically, it would do something. I mean, is there a way to settle on changing the front rails and the scuppers on the side of the porch to try to put this matter to rest? Regardless of which rail system you guys would be okay with?
Start.
Mr. Hickman, the framing underneath the rails,
Yes.
What is that? It's a sill plate, a top plate, 2x4s, 16 on center.
2x6s.
Plywood.
Yeah, 2x6s. Yeah, 2x6s. Then it's plywooded, and we have just the beadboard on the inside, and then all cedar shake on the exterior.
So you'd have to remove the cedar shakes, cut down the beadboard on the interior, cut down the vertical components of the framing.
Yep.
and then alter the columns as well, or extend those in some capacity in order to lower the
the
rail.
columns would now be 6 inches short, because they come
Right.
ordered to size is what we did, because they're and they were, each column was about $400. And then, we're getting into repainting, everything, because, it's hard to run the skill saw to cut the beadboard in place, you know what I mean, to get a clean cut and so on and so forth. It's just a lot of work involved, and disturbing those columns is a major cost. I mean, the whole kind of process, I wish we could just kind of lop off the rails and drop them down and kind of put it back together and get some paint on it. But it's just, the simplicity is just not there, and the financial aspect of it. So that's why I was,
David Gaby had tossed out the idea of something so you could use the same columns. I'm not sure what that is, but he's still on, and I'd love to hear him tell us what that he was talking about. Because if the columns were usable and you didn't have to change the columns and for some manner, then lopping down the rails does become much more cost effective than when you don't have to get 4 new columns. So we're getting closer.
Commissioner Walsh, we haven't in the past during this COVID time period, we haven't been using folks. Other petitioners to comment on other particular matters. So I just want to make sure that, if you want to do that, I just want to make sure that we throw out to the public that, we haven't allowed other commentary.
I understand. Yeah, he just threw something out. Yeah, you're absolutely right. We can't do that.
I think I've done this with Porsche Zach. I think what Dave's talking about is pedestals. And I wish Al was on, but you could, I just don't know how thick they would have to be in order to make up the difference. You could put a base on the bottom of the post, which would suck up some inches, and then one on the top.
But then we're not just disturbing the bottom, we're disturbing the whole top part of it too. I mean, we can't take those columns apart. They come in 2 pieces.
Right. Yep.
Come together, and they're bonded now with Bondo, and they're seamed together. So I can't take those apart now to get, blocking under the top and the bottom.
Is there one solid 4x4 running up from the floor all the way up to the ceiling and up to the roof?
6 by 6 by 6 by a 6 by 6 post. Yeah,
right.
Just per code.
So in my non-contractor mind, I'm wondering if there's any type of framing that could just be shingled. That's giving them 4 inches or 6 inches. I don't know. I don't know the answer. I know that it sounds like we're a whole lot closer than we were a minute and a half ago.
No. I mean, Shane and I have been at the property together since the last meeting, and we really did take time over there. We spent over an hour, trying to discuss the way that we could do it without having to disturb so much.
Right. And
it's just aesthetically, we're gonna, make it look worse by trying to, I don't want to say, we don't want to hack something together. I know, 100%. It's not what it, initially was, but what we did do well. So I don't want to, make the situation worse by creating an eyesore, or trying to kind of cob something together.
All right. Well, do any other commissioners have any other commentary? So if there's no other commentary, I'd entertain a motion to accept the application for certificate of hardship on 163 Piney Woods Ave.
Moved.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, I'll call the vote. Commissioner Kroll?
No.
Commissioner Finn?
No.
Commissioner McFarland,
No.
Commissioner Belton,
No.
Commissioner Walsh is a no. I don't know the answer to this one, gentlemen.
With all due respect, the answer is it should have been addressed a long time ago. And now that it's built, I'm left holding the bag. I don't even know what this means. You guys voted no, so now what do I do? Can I get some guidance on next steps? Because I don't have the money to pay my contractor or any other contractor to do anything. I thought everything was to the T with our application. I don't know what to do right now.
Well,
what are the next steps?
well, there is, you can appeal to the court, and or you can,
okay, go ahead. Sorry.
I was going to say, or you can submit another application with a plan that might be acceptable to us. We already gave you a lot of things that you know are going to be the general consensus. You never know till a vote happens, but the general consensus would be acceptable to us. I'll tell you more of what might be acceptable to me. I'm okay with the stairs, not quite the way they are. That's really dramatically different than either what your plan was or what we would care for. But pipe rails are generally an acceptable, railing system. I am willing to accept the roof the way it is, and the catchy thing for me, this is the only thing sticking for me, is the railing height so much higher than the window sills. But I don't have a problem. I don't know that I'd have a problem. I'd have to see it, where what you could do so that you can use those same posts. I understand this, that the problem is that. But in my mind, I'm having a problem with the railings. It just sticks out, unfortunately, in general, it sticks out like a sore thumb to historically accurate buildings. What happened before, that's if, you always have options of, speaking to your own attorneys or doing whatever you want regarding how this happened. That's, unfortunately, I don't have the option here. Our only option, all we're allowed to do here is answer the questions under the state law and guidelines of a historic commission. And we can't change the rules of historic preservation because we think either somebody did something right or wrong or whatever. Well, so I can't make that decision. That's legal stuff outside of our purview and outside of my jurisdiction. But I want to work with you on it. We're this close to solving this problem for less than $5,000. And I know that's a lot of money that you don't have, but you have to come up with a better plan. Now, I would accept the roof, in the drainage things, whatever they're called. I know they have names. And that's, to me, that's almost just that's just for show. And I understand that. It would look better if it had them all, like the original. I'm okay with the floor being different. I'm okay with the stairs being different. Well, maybe, depending on how the stairs end up with a pipe rail. The only thing stuck for me, Mr. Manning, is the railing height, and even some design issue where those same posts can be used. I'd be happy to look at it. I'd be happy to see it put in front of us so that we can make a decision regarding it. And I know you did good work on the house. That's not part of the question here, not at all. So we just have not been able to approve your application for hardship tonight.
Talked about this, and if I go, as far as next steps, if we map out a solution to drop it, and I can't physically make that happen financially, where does that leave us? Robert, is that like what are your further recourses on me if I can't even fund whatever middle ground we're going to come up with?
I don't know. I haven't looked to see. I'm not trying to do anything to hurt you. I'm trying to find some solution so that not only the other people in the neighborhood who support and maintain their historic houses have supported and maintained. I mean, this is a historic district for a reason. And as we found out, that there are a lot of people that want this to be a little more historically accurate. None of this is done as retribution. None of this is done as,
How do just out of curiosity? How do certain things like get approved and then other things get denied? Like the lady across the street has the same exact railings that we constructed.
Well, it didn't come in front of me. So
That's neither here nor there.
that's correct. That's neither here nor there. That's the
What
different
I'm trying
argument.
to understand as the homeowner is, what are my next steps? What do I do? What am I supposed to do? Because what is going to happen to me? I don't understand. Like, I guess I don't, with the no vote, and I don't mean to eat up your entire evening, gentlemen. And I
want to give you. I wanted to give you all the time you needed so we could come to a.
I just need to understand
agreement.
I don't even know what to tell my wife right now, and she's my business partner. We're 50-50 on Main and Cabell. I don't really know what to tell her about what are the next steps. Robert, do you know what the next steps are? The letters from you. I tried to go through an application for hardship for special conditions. It was denied. Any middle ground is probably something outside of my realm of possibility. So what happens? I read here on the bottom that I could potentially get fined. What happens?
Yeah, I'm not. Go ahead.
I was just going to suggest that I'm not pushing anything relative to fines or anything. I'd be happy to give you time, give you time to come back with another solution. I'm not going to take any action.
Okay, so do I have a timeline? I don't want. Yeah, I just want to.
What's that again, Mr. Manning?
So is there a timeline? Like, I don't.
No. There's. You just put something together for the next meeting or whenever you can get it back in front of us. I think we're this close. We're this close.
All right, Zach and
I'm not. We're not having. I'm telling you, as a chair of the commission, we're not having any further action taken at this point.
Understood. All right,
we're just waiting. We're waiting for you to see what we can do. I think we actually cleared up a lot of things today that might help you to look at it slightly differently tomorrow.
All right, Zach,
is there anything, Attorney Shuchuk, anything he might want to add?
No, I can't think of anything.
Okay.
Just like you said, you guys you're right there. So very, very, very close. It sounds like, with the roof being okay and
yeah, I appreciate the flexibility. I get it. Yeah. All right. Zach, I'll give you a call after this, and thank you everyone for your time.
Gentlemen, thank you for your time. You guys have a good evening.
Okay, talk to you soon.
Thank you.
Okay, next we have no new hearings. Okay, we have other matters properly before the commission. Community Preservation Act Historic Determination Project reviews. Godfrey Triangle.
Did I say something?
Yes, you waited patiently long enough and patiently enough. The floor is yours.
Oh, thank you so much. So my name is Zeta Govan, and I am the president of the Indian Orchard Citizens Council. And we have been working for a number of years on revitalizing the Godfrey Triangle. Mm-hmm. And 2 years ago, we got money from the Community Preservation Fund to do some work on the Godfrey Triangle, as well as targeted neighborhood improvement grants, and then a World War II grant that we got. So we got a lot of work done, but we still haven't gotten the eagle replaced, and we need light on the flag. Right now, it's not lit, unfortunately. So we are considering, or we're planning to apply for a grant this upcoming cycle for the CPA for the eagle and to get some lighting on the monument. And I just wanted to come before you to see if you have any idea of the historical implications of this and how we can replace the eagle to make sure that we keep it historical if it needs to be.
It's a great question. Any commissioners want to jump in there?
Yes, I'd like to jump in a minute.
Please do, Commissioner Belton.
The lighting is not necessarily for the monument. The lighting is to illuminate the flag.
Yep, that's what I said.
Yep, that's correct.
Right now, it's not lit at all, and that concerns me because I know, as an American citizen, every time we have a flag out, we need to have light on it. So
have you worked with the Parks Department on this?
Yes, sir. That's who we're working with.
Patrick Sullivan and folks?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So we have a proposal, to put some lighting on the flag, and to get the eagle replaced. So our question, of course, I don't know. I guess I'm pretty sure they didn't have lighting back then when they first created the monument, and that's probably why it's not on there. But my concern is the eagle. And we have pictures of the eagle. I believe that you may have some from the last time that we submitted a CPA grant. Let me see if I could find it.
Zeta, did Pat or anybody at the Parks Department have a record of who originally put the eagle up, like the vendor?
No, I don't think so. I want to say that the eagle that was there was the original eagle. Mm-hmm. I might be wrong, but it was. I want to say it was a granite eagle, and we have it's a legend, I guess you could say, that the eagle was stolen and thrown into one of our ponds. So we're thinking, well, maybe we could get money to dredge the ponds or just get another eagle. So let me see if I could find, I do have pictures of it. I could probably send those to you if you'd like to see it. But I think that the Parks Department didn't. Go ahead.
No, I think it's would be an appropriate thing to do. I don't know that it falls under our purview in any way at this point. Okay. I'm not sure if Alvin, did we find out anything? Is there any historical information on this that we might be able to have here?
So one, your charge today is to figure out if this site is, if you would determine it as a historic site.
Just a historically significant.
Yeah, if it's historically significant, to give that determination, and then also your charge is to figure, or basically, if you want to approve the project, then we can send a letter to the Community Preservation Committee stating that you guys are in favor.
Well, I would suggest that it is a historically significant project, and I would be in a favor of supporting it. So, any other commissioners want to jump in there?
Marco, go get some beer for Joe. Here.
David,
which
phone?
I was going to say, who's barking?
That's David Gavey. There you go.
I just want to say that, if I can talk over the dog, excuse me. I just wanted to say that I'm 100% in favor of
the dog. The dog. Oh, we're frozen.
Yeah, the dog's in favor of it as well. Evidently,
that was a yes. I heard a yes there.
Yeah.
So what would our motion have to be, Alvin? Just that we find it historically significant, and we would like to put a letter of support.
Yes, basically a letter of support going.
Would anybody like to make that motion?
It came right in.
I'd like to make a motion to send a letter of support for the Indian Orchard Citizens Council to replace the eagle in their park. To the CPA.
Okay, was that seconded?
Second.
Okay, does it have to be more specific, Al?
I mean, that sounds like you're approving the project. Or
I don't think so. My only.
So okay, in that motion, it sounds like you guys are moving forward with the project. If you do vote yes.
Well, I guess the motion I was looking for was that we would we find it to be historically significant.
That would be the determination piece of
The
historic.
determination is that it is significant and that we would put out a letter of support.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry, I'll withdraw my
what's the-
first motion, and I'll make a
No.
new motion to.
Hold on, Brian. Brian, give me a sec. Just hold that motion right there. Alan, clarify that again for me.
Okay, so there's two things that you guys are determining. Whether it's historically significant, so that's your first motion, and then if you're fine with that, then you approve that. Then your second motion is to approve the project for the installation of a new eagle, however specifications, and then also if you want to approve the uplighting as well for the flag.
Well, hold on a second. I'm flipping papers again.
Tough meeting, Mr. President, tough meeting.
Yeah, well, I'm losing my mind here. Just give me a second.
Usually the attorney is the one that's flipping papers, not the president.
I must have put it in a different file where I record the votes. I must have stuck it in. There it is. I stuck it in a previous, an already that large Piney Woods file. So now that I found where I record the vote, we can entertain the motion to what is it? Agree that it's historically significant.
Mhm.
Make a motion to designate the site as historically significant.
You need a second? I didn't hear one. Was there one? A second on
I can't
that?
say.
There's no second?
Second.
Okay. Any discussion? Is there a commissioner that doesn't think this is a historically significant part?
Are we designating this as a historically significant strictly so that it meets the requirements for an application to the community preservation?
Yes, that's what my belief is that, yes. If you could just tell me what you're thinking there, David, I'd appreciate it.
No, I personally, I'm not sure it's historically significant, but I understand the reason for requesting that if it is to go in front of the CBC, because that is a requirement. So I get
that,
and I support
if I
it.
may,
Yeah,
that's one of the parts that I could apply for. There's also open spaces which I could apply for that park.
Right.
But again, I want to come for the commission to make sure that I don't, move forward with anything and not keep it historically accurate.
What are you doing? I'm like,
yeah, and Zeta, I would actually, I would support that under either. I think it, I think it would qualify under either.
Okay.
Okay. All right. If we could mute that other person there. Well, I just, it's not like we're designating it a historical, making another, single historical property. Any other questions? Okay. So we have the motion. Any other questions or any other input?
Yes, I have a question. On the monument, is there something on the monument that is very significant to the city of Springfield? Like the names or who's on there?
I don't think so.
you got Vicky's number on your phone. She got to stop texting me. Oops.
If you could mute, it'd be great.
I just muted her. One thing to add. So this property or this parcel of land with the monument has actually been, it's been inventoried and it's on the state registry.
Oh, beautiful. Good. That makes that easy.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. That's what I thought, because
Yeah.
I did receive a letter from you guys the last time I got the grant, 2 years ago.
Okay. All right. The first motion is to just to designate as historically significant, and that motion has been made and seconded. Any other discussion? Hearing none, call the vote. Commissioner Kroll,
Yes.
Commissioner Finn,
Yes.
Commissioner McFarland,
Yes.
Commissioner Felton, sorry, Tom, jeez.
Yes.
Felton? Oh, it's getting long. And Commissioner Walsh is yes. And the next motion would be to entertain a motion to send a letter of support for the, for the lighting in the Eagle.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, any discussion on that motion? Hearing none, call the vote. Commissioner Kroll,
Yes.
Commissioner Finn,
Yes.
Commissioner McFarland,
Yes.
Commissioner Belton,
Yes.
and Commissioner Walsh is a yes. Okay. There we go.
Thank you.
No, you're very welcome. Let's see what else I can lose today. Okay. Okay, another discussion on the creation of the new local historic district. I don't know how to pronounce that. How do you pronounce that?
That's the Onchman House
Onchman?
Local Historic District. We do have, it's currently owned by the, it's a church. I don't have the church name in front of me.
Holy Trinity Church of God in Christ.
Yes, and we do have a member of the church or a representative, Miss Lisa Goodman, can speak in regards to the history of why she's or her church is requesting this designation.
Excellent. Ms. Goodman, please have the floor. You gotta unmute yourself.
Mute. Okay. So we are in the process of making this property for homeless women and small children. It's so much in demand in our neighborhood, of course, because we have a lot of homeless people in that neighborhood as it is, and the property has been boarded up for almost 3 decades. And it's a very strong structure still. It's a kind of an eyesore in that neighborhood, being that a lot of things have already been renovated. It's got the new CVS and all those new auto places over there. So we wanted to do a emergency shelter. And even with COVID-19 going on, it's going to be more relevant for us to do this. We currently had to fence the property in because we have so many squatters that try to go in. It's awful, and stay in the property. We fenced it in, we boarded it up, and we have people that we have suitcases and sleep on the back of the pastor's porch or the church. They're in the yard. It's really an excessive problem. So I have experienced running and operating grassroots house like this on the North End that ran for about 15 years. That recently closed, unfortunately, prior to the pandemic. So we know that there's a need, and we are working on getting this property rehabbed as soon as possible. We'd love to start, and we are requesting that we are able to create this district for this historic property so that it can be restored back to its physical beauty that it once was, and also help the community with the shelter.
Excellent. Any questions from commissioners?
Excuse my hat. It's a bad hair day.
Yeah, I always have one of those.
It snowed today.
Every day's a bad hair day for me.
I was like this all day, and then I was like, oh, we got a Zoom. Okay. No time to get hair done.
That's the great part about being virtual.
I'm not sure if Ms. Goodman stated, but this property is located at 5153 Bay Street. It is within the McKnight National Register District, not within the local district, but in the National Register District. And she has, or the church has received funds from the community, CPC.
CPC.
Yes. So because she's received funds, they've requested that she create a new district here. So that's why she's before you guys.
Okay.
Oh, yes, right. That's the main point. Thanks, Alvin.
Yep, no problem.
Yeah, he keeps us in line.
Yeah, he's good. He's awesome.
Any commissioners have any questions?
Yes, we're creating another district for one parcel, one piece of property,
Yeah, at the request of the property owner.
and it's within the Hill McKnight.
Yes.
Well, it's in, Alvin, could you clarify that again? It's in the Hill McKnight.
It's in McKnight. It's in the McKnight neighborhood, and it's in the national but not local district.
There you go. Thank you.
Exactly.
You're welcome.
I certainly have no issue with it whatsoever. So if there's no other questions or discussion, I'm not sure what the motion has to be to move this.
And again, with this request, you guys are charged with, I guess, recommending approval, or I'm sorry, sending a letter to Mass Historic to move this district forward.
Right. I thought that would be a motion to send a letter to Mass Historic. So if anybody wants to make that motion.
So moved.
Second.
Okay.
Okay.
Any discussion on the motion?
Yes, Alvin, would there be a possibility of including this in the current Hill McKnight historical district?
It's not adjacent to the local district.
Right. We're on like the tip, right, Alvin? It's like we're on the tip.
I mean,
I think that's Bay area.
It's on the tip of the National Register District, but the local district, it's actually several properties removed.
If it becomes its own district, then it settles the issue anyways.
Right.
Any other discussion on the motion? Okay, then I'll call a vote. Commissioner Kroll?
Yes.
Commissioner Finn?
Yes.
Commissioner McFarland?
Yes.
Commissioner Belton?
Yes.
And Commissioner Walsh is yes. Okay. Do we need anything else on this one, Alvin?
No, that's it. So we'll put a letter together and send it to Mass Historic.
Okay.
Okay.
Alvin?
Great.
Yes.
Thank you.
You're very welcome, Lisa. Thanks for joining us.
Yes. Thank you, guys. Stay well.
You too.
Bye.
Vinny,
Yes.
now, they asked for something, and we're moving forward with it to help them, but I think it's going to be important that they know that their renovation of that building has to come in front of us.
Yes. Yep.
I think they know that. Tom,
Yeah,
that
they're pretty up on this stuff. I think they really
us before.
Right. I think they know what they're doing here. So
It's come before us before.
I
Tom,
just
that's a good
wanted to
point.
put it out here.
And a good
Because
point that we should
sometimes
remind them.
Truly understand what they asked for, and then they find out that there's complications with it. And I just wanted to put it out on the table to make sure all parties were aware.
Oh, thank you. It's actually a great point, Tom. It's only because we know, we've dealt with them that they know what they're doing here. But absolutely, I should have reiterated that somewhere in the conversation. But thanks for that, Tom. Okay, what else do we have? Letter of support.
So the next three items are items for Mr. David Gaby. They were on the previous agenda, and I guess you guys wanted further information or clarification on certain things before you signed off. these letters of support.
Okay, Mr. Gaby's still with us, so if he wants to jump back in and unmute himself. Alvin, was there anything specific that you can remember we were waiting for? I did not review this before the meeting tonight.
I can't recall what you guys were looking for.
I think what the concern was how the programs were going to be managed, maybe not the interpretive sign, but like the one that was $500,000, how the money was to be handled or what the process was going to be.
That was part of it, yeah. David Gaby, if you could unmute yourself and join us. Otherwise, this discussion will be short on these three issues.
I'm going to try to call him if you just give me.
Yeah, go ahead. Well, you know, this has been one of the longer meetings. We might as well make it a little longer. At least we're sitting in our homes.
I'm sitting in my office.
Oh, you are?
I saw the 787 number, Tom, so I knew you were probably calling from the office.
Yeah. Well, I'm sitting in my home. Actually, I'm sitting in a classroom.
If you're about to say, it's a weird looking house, Alvin.
Yeah, I know it. I'm sitting in the Springfield City School classroom right now. This is where my wife teaches the 5th grade class for Liberty Elementary every day.
Are you learning anything?
I'm learning. You wouldn't believe what I'm learning.
That was a good one, Coach.
That sure was.
David has not answered, so I'm not sure if you, however you guys want to move forward.
You know, is there any other thing under other matters properly before the commission that we need to talk about?
Nope, that's all.
Is he under any time constraints here? Does he need these by a certain date?
He did state a specific day. I want to say by the end of January.
Right. Then he better. I'm going to give him about a minute to get back on board here, because we can't just.
Alvin, did he email anything or provide anything? I thought he was going to send some stuff.
He didn't provide me anything extra on those particular.
Yeah, I know we had asked for a few things. Yeah.
Okay.
So I hate to not take any action if he needs these, but I also don't. You know, can you text him? Does he respond to a text?
Yeah, I don't.
Maybe he's taking the dog out for a walk or something. I don't know. If you guys don't mind, I don't mind giving him another minute or so.
I'll try to give him one more ring.
Yeah, give him one more ring, because if it's time sensitive, I don't want to not, give him I don't want to not give him a little bit of time to tell us what's going on. I mean, in general, I support those things, but I do recall, and I actually wrote notes, but I think I turned them in when I turned in the other files on what a couple of my questions were. But Walter, you were right. You were right. Part of it was, how it was going to be handled. Is there anybody? Oh, there's just David Gaby's on, but he's not. So, Attorney Shuchuk, hopefully I was okay in that last discussion.
That was perfect. When the homeowner was asking what to do, I was like, well, does your contractor have insurance? Because it sounds like he's the one who.
I desperately wanted to tell him that he's got the problem is with his contract.
Yeah. I think he kind of realized that, I think he knows that it's his contractors, but who knows.
And he was a little quieter today.
Yeah.
Anyway, I feel bad for the guy, but that's the breaks. Well, if I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second, thank you, Tom.
Second, Pat.
Okay, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Everybody.
Thank you, everybody.
Can you stay on with me for a minute after he stops recording, please?
Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, you make Thursday nights fun.
Good night.
Good night.